exactly. Well, one of the things I wanted to touch on just a little bit was King himself, his own persona. Did you ever have an opportunity to meet him or be in his
I
presence?
never met him, but I heard a couple of speeches and he kind of blew me away. I, people play so many games that it's either this one road to the truth, and so if you were supposedly a panther, or if you were with this group or that group, you weren't supposed to be listening to each other. And I think that's a very sad, stupid mistake, and I think most folks have grown past that and know that. But I admired his guts, because he knew exactly what these people. He sort of got tricked into the movement, and when he found out he was in it, he followed through, and he knew. If you heard that speech he made the night before he was killed, he knew they were going to kill him.
Oh yeah.
And he continued to do what he had to do. I admired him. There's nowhere in this earth that, and I believe in nonviolence, but there's nowhere in this earth I could stand and be nonviolent if somebody hit me. And I admired that he could stick to his guns and follow through on this. He
had the courage of his convictions.
Oh yeah, and as I say, there's a lot of roads to the truth, and his road was definitely a necessary one, and he's changed the world. I've heard people singing songs that he was made popular, and the people that are working with him in the civil rights thing in Chinese, in Danish, in all kinds of different languages. So I mean, he made an amazing impact. He made an amazing impact, and I admired him. I said, I thought it was absolutely crazy to let somebody hit him. I wanted to jump up there and slap somebody when they started seeing people beating on him and other folks, but he had guts. And
yes, he did. He was definitely on the front lines.
Oh yes.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And for the people who don't realize it, if you look at the front lines, you saw him and his wife out there all the time. They were not buried in the crowd. They were always out there.
I did meet Coretta. I met her when she came to Yale in the 60s.
There was a thing that happened with her and Betty Shabazz, and women whose husbands had been murdered. They had them, and I saw a thing where there were 3 or 4 of them, where they had a conversation. There's amazing people that took care of business even after their husbands were killed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And let me share something else that King wrote that I think is so pertinent to today, that I'm actually going to change one of the words from Vietnam to Iraq. Somehow this madness must cease. We must stop now. I speak as a child of God and brother to the suffering poor of Iraq. I speak for those whose land is being laid waste, whose homes are being destroyed, whose culture is being subverted. I speak for the poor of America, who are paying the double price of smashed hopes at home and dealt death and corruption in Iraq. Again, that was a quote from Dr. King, and I substituted Iraq for Vietnam. I speak as a citizen of the world, for the world as it stands aghast at the path we have taken. I speak as one who loves America. To the leaders of our own nation, the great initiative in this war is ours. The initiative to stop it must be ours. Unquote. And then there's the famous quote, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
There's a couple here that I really feel strongly about. May I do that?
Sure.
Because especially when I mentioned the thing about the children, and I think all 3 of these, anyway, life's most urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Quote number 1. Quote number 2, nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. When I hear people, some of our famous comedians, making fun of these children out there in the streets. If your child 9, 10, and 11 is out, if an adult is out there every night, rain, snow, or sleet, something seriously is wrong.
Right.
Something is very wrong. And making fun of them, nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. The last of which is this other quote, the hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great moral conflict. And I think it's really, I mean, those kids, I started making friends with them, and they told me nobody ever speaks to them. And they first they came at me really, they didn't see anything but an old lady with all these instruments. And after we started having this banter, then we made friends. These are a crazy old lady. That was a quote from them in the poem. I was a crazy old lady, but I was okay. I'm a cool, you know. And nobody talks to them. Something
Nobody
horrible.
gives them respect.
9, 10, and 11-year-old kids out 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Something horrible has to happen. And I agree with this. What are you doing for others? So the only thing, I don't have any money, so I wrote a love poem to them. And so now I'm everybody's grandmother. That's cool. I think I can accept that. I got 2 adult children, 4 grandchildren, and 3 great grandchildren. So I can accept a whole bunch of other, you know. We don't even talk to them. We need to be doing something, because that hottest place in hell, I don't want to be part of company with these other people who are remaining neutral with these babies out there in the street. There's something wrong with that picture.
Yes, there is. And it's a sad society that doesn't take care of its children.
Well, the child you ignore today is the drive-by shooter tomorrow. I really believe that.
Well, that's a quote.
Quote me
That's
on
a
it.
quotable quote.
Quote me on it.
Avotcja. And I just wanted to say one more quote that I love from Dr. King. We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. And that is so true. Avotcja, we have to wind down. We have about 30 seconds left. And I would like to give you the last few words.
The best thing I could say is that I'm really honored to be here, and Keelu, you know I love you. There's nowhere on this earth I would have come this to be if it wasn't you. But I think